I did not notice that, Navi, but we're on the air.
Oh.
So, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Daytripper Photo Show. Tonight we're talking about Lightroom CC, updates to Lightroom CC. Gabriel has been working hard, scrounging through all the things that Lightroom has to offer, and has a really cool show lined up for everyone. If you have any questions, I will mention this throughout the show because there's a lot of people who aren't watching yet. If you have any questions during the show, the Q&A is open, and you should use it. That's how we're going to see what you're talking about. Any questions at all, whether it's the meaning of life or just want to say hi. It's all good. What's up, Gabe?
Okay, if you just give me 1 second, don't throw to me. My headphones worked fantastically for about 12 seconds, and then now they're lagging on your voice. So I'm just gonna figure this out and then come back.
Okay, sure. So the whole point of tonight's show. Okay. The whole point of tonight's show is to discuss the changes that Lightroom has to make or has made in their operating system and all the different things they have. They've got cool things like HDR and panoramic and all this great stuff now. But hopefully, if Gabriel gets his stuff working, we'll be able to talk about some of those things because he's the one who's done the research. So this will be a very boring show otherwise, don't you think, Navi?
I hope it's exciting and fun. Actually, I was looking forward to this when you told me what we were doing because I haven't had a chance to really check out Lightroom 6 myself, or CC, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm curious to see what new and exciting things they're offering.
Exactly. Apparently it's creating quite a stir. So Gabriel got all excited, had all these ideas that he wanted to talk about, so we were going to get into it. Andrew, thank you for watching. Good evening to you as well. Really cool thing about the Hangout format that we have is that during the show, as you just noticed, Andrew just piped in and said hi, there's a Q&A that goes live throughout the entire show. So any questions that you have that come up during the show, go ahead, post them in there, and Navi and I will be moderating that, making sure that all your questions get answered. Before we get into the show, though, I just want to kind of remind people that there's a lot more that we do than just Wednesday nights hanging out in our offices talking to people. Navi, what have you been up to lately?
What have I been up to? Well, I think I missed the last show? 2 shows. No, last show.
Last show you mentioned some stuff.
Yeah, so I've been teaching my class, my portrait class at Sheridan College, which has been awesome.
Cool.
Kind of learning the whole, trying to figure out my way, first of all, how to get to different places there.
So this is your first time teaching at a college like this?
Yeah. We've done workshops and I've done classes and stuff, but not an actual, educational institution, I guess you can say. But it's been great. People in the class they want to be there, so it's always good teaching people who want to learn. Mm-hmm. And everyone's very eager to learn about studio lighting, that kind of stuff, which is I happen to be able to do, so it's come pretty natural to me, and it's fun.
Yeah, that's the cool thing when you can teach something that you love to do anyway. It doesn't really feel like a lot of work, and when you have those students that are passionate, like you're talking about, they absorb what you're putting out, and it just becomes a really cool relationship.
Yeah, and I'm learning stuff too as I go along because there's a lot of things where I think we were talking about just regular f-stops, things that we kind of just do, but when you have to break it down and try to teach somebody else, you really take the time to think about it in a different way. So,
it's true.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm happy for you. I think that's great that you're doing that. I think you're perfectly suited for it. As you said, you've taught sessions and you've taught with Daytripper, and I just think you're a natural at it. So good for you.
Thanks.
Thanks. I had thanks for dinner tonight. Sidetrack squirrel. Mark, thank you for watching. Good evening to you as well. Gabe, how's it working out for you there, buddy?
Oh, I'm getting there. You take one USB cable and put it in somewhere different, and then everything all just falls apart.
And this is why you run PCTantrums.com, isn't it?
That is why I run PC Tantrums.
So Navi and I were just talking about what she's been up to with her new teaching job and stuff. Is there anything new you've been up to lately?
He fixed my computer.
Well, there you go. PCTantrums.com.
Highly recommend him. He was very efficient.
Very good. Actually, that's a good review right there. Another good review. Check this out, guys. This is the hottest thing going right now. Here we have Gabriel's. Oh, where is it? There it is. Gabriel's MacBook Air.
There you go.
my brand new computer as I'm setting it up right there beside me. So thank you, Gabriel, for letting me use your computer for tonight's show, because obviously I would have been in trouble otherwise.
Do you know what it turns out I use a lot? My MacBook Air. It's like I dropped it off with you, and like 8 minutes later, I'm like, I'll just hit a coffee shop and get some. Oh no!
No, I'm sorry. Well, you'll have it back soon. I'm loading up mine. It's all getting going. And talk about service. Okay, anybody who's out there watching, I've been talking about getting a new computer, and I've been humming and hawing. I had to buy a Mac because I'm so entrenched in that interface. I was so scared. Gabe was with me when I was at the Mac store. I mean, the poor salespeople there were just ready to punch me in the head. I don't. Yeah, he's nodding.
I had to hold one back. This poor little pregnant girl, and she's like, "I'll just take him down." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 lady, come on."
It's funny because it's true. And so I didn't want to spend the money. I mean, Macs. We all know Macs are expensive. So I'm freaking out, having to spend this money on this thing. And you know what? I bit the bullet. I ordered the Mac. I did a refurb off of the internet. Of course, we ordered it in the Mac store on their computers. Later that day, I got an email confirming that the Mac was, the order was placed. This morning, I got the email that yesterday I got an email that it was shipped. So the same day they shipped it. This morning I got an email that it was coming today, and then it arrived at my door. As the guy's dropping it off to me, he gets a message from Apple making sure that he's dropping it off to me right there on the spot. Drops it off, I sign for it. Hour later, I get another email from Apple saying, I hope you're enjoying your new computer, blah, blah, blah. If you have any questions, get a hold of us. I mean, come on. A day later? Who does that?
Crazy fast. Apple does.
Apple does that. So, you know, I mean, there's already some perks involved with biting the bullet on this. So anyway, I've talked way too long.
Does that 82,000 times a day. So,
you know what? From a consumer experience viewpoint, it's a pretty important thing, especially since I've had some spectacular service these days from restaurants in the area.
Right.
Oh yeah, spectacular. You know, not to name any names, you know, or anything, but there are some places out there that just don't believe in doing good service until you call them and yell at them, and then their manager brings you the food right to your door. So,
I have a feeling that spectacular means something different to him than it means to us.
Just a little bit pickle barrel. I mean, yeah. I ordered from this restaurant with the initials PB.
It's not slanderous if it's true. You can say anything you want. If it's true, then you can't get into trouble.
To be fair, we've had a few bad experiences with this restaurant, and then when I let them never sayings. And then when I let them know about it, the manager on duty literally brought the food to the house, all fresh food, took care of everything herself. So, you know, to their credit, their service did follow through. It's just the staff they have, and this is the real thing. Staff sucks these days, doesn't it? I'm going on a little bit of a tangerine here, but staff in a lot of places, you get people who have no level of interest, and they don't really care if they do good for you or not, right? They're just doing an after-school job or something silly. Anyway, enough of that. We're talking about Lightroom. Anybody have any questions about Lightroom so far? Q&A? Nothing. Okay, cool. So, Gabriel, are you still with us? Yep, off in the distance somewhere. Okay, we're going to throw to Gabe in just a second, but until we do, I just want to remind people, if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, please click like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share this with your friends. Let people know that we're actually doing a show that you might enjoy something, you might learn something even. Also, I want to encourage you to join the Daytripper Photo community on Google+. This is a community where there's a lot of really great people in there. It started off with Gabriel and I moderating this, and Darren, and you know, whenever somebody had a question, we were on there, we were answering it right off the bat, trying to do our best to get these answers out there quickly. It's gotten to the point now where there's about 5 or 6 answers on any post before we even see it. I'm so impressed with that. So thank you to everybody who's in the community and to everybody who wants to be in this great photography community. Check us out, Google+, Daytripper Photo communities, very cool stuff. Also want to send a quick thank you to our sponsor. Yeah, just got to reach down here for my gizmos. LensPen is our sponsor. They've been doing some great stuff for us. I've just talked to Martin, my contact at LensPen, and they're going to give us all kinds of new fresh crop of prizes to give away for the next coming year and well into the Photo Expo. So some cool things like the Peeps are coming. You know those sunglasses, eyeglasses cleaners they have?
No, I don't.
They're very cool. We're going to be getting some of those. And, of course, we're going to be getting and you guys thought I was all out of these, the Moneymaker. What? What?
Shake it a little.
Yeah, shake it. The Moneymaker. Yeah,
shake your Moneymaker.
I should never do that again.
I want the song ready, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm done.
Fail.
Fail.
Anyway. I have this ready for you.
Doon, 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 doon.
Oh no, Gabriel's dancing. Make us stop.
I'm singing Pink Floyd and Gabriel's dancing. What have we done?
The things that you say are hurtful, but true.
Oh, wow. I meant to do this one.
We are literally losing viewers as we speak.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get right to it. One last thing on the lens pen comment. I went over to Ross's place last night, and we shot about 7 or 8 of the Daytripper Photo DigiNos, the little quick tips that we're going to talk about, and lens pen was our first one that's been published. So thank you, Ross, so much, the photo video guy himself, for recording these with the Nikon D4S that you're working with right now. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of fun, and I think you did a great job. Of course, the talent didn't hurt, but whatever. Okay. Let's get into the discussion. Gabriel, Lightroom.
Yes, sir.
What has happened to Lightroom?
Thanks for throwing it to me now. You've thrown it to me earlier when I was trying to sneakily get my coffee. I'm in the kitchen pouring a coffee. You still with us? Yeah.
Oh. I know you had to show up a little bit late today, but that's okay. You have a life that's way busier than mine. So, why are we doing a whole show on Lightroom?
Well, there has been...
The reason I asked this question is because there's actually been a lot more questions about how to use Google+. Oh. But you think Lightroom is what we should be talking about.
Yes. Well, yeah. So this was what they call a point upgrade. So when Lightroom comes, for Lightroom 5, and then Lightroom 5.2 is usually like bug fixes or something like that. Lightroom 2. Or 5.5 is they add a couple small features and stuff. But once they add a large enough feature set that they think it warrants a point upgrade, then they bring it up to what it is right now, Lightroom 6. Or if you're on the Creative Cloud package, which I think everybody should be, it's Lightroom CC. Now, that's the sort of difference right now, is that it goes from Lightroom 5 to Lightroom CC. And so this will be the last version of Lightroom, because everything from now on is Lightroom CC. Just like, and I think they're getting a lot of their cues from Apple. Apple doesn't release, the iPad 8. They just release the iPad. They don't release the iPod Nano 12. They just release, if you go in and say, I would like an iPad, they don't ask you which one. They just give you the iPad, right? So it's, I think they're taking some of their cues from there, and a lot of companies are starting to go that way. So yeah, there's a lot of changes, a lot of updates, and I've always liked Lightroom, but this is one of the biggest updates in a long time, and one of the ones that's got me the most excited.
Well, before we get too into it, let's just remind people what the CC stuff is all about. Originally, Lightroom was software that you just buy. It still is. You can still buy Lightroom. It's up to Lightroom version 6 right now. But this Creative Cloud, God bless you, this Creative Cloud thing, CC, is the online package, and you're saying you should get the photographer bundle, I think, right?
Yeah, so they have the photographer bundle, which is $9.99 a month, or I think it's $12 Canadian, or something like that. And yeah, you basically get 2 licensed copies. So I have one on here and one on my MacBook Air, which I can't use right now. And you get updates like every freaking 2 minutes. I mean, it's beautiful. Whenever there's a new bug fix or a new update, you don't have to wait for that point update to come out, because that could be 6 months down the line. It's just like, oh, we found a bug, bam, it's installed on your computer, everything's fine. It reminds me a lot of Windows Chrome, the browser that's always updating itself in the background in such a fantastic way that you never notice. It's, when they find something or they want to add new functionality, it's just there. You don't have to go to a website and find it and download it and install it. And then the other thing the CC package does is it gives you Photoshop as well, which is that other program that intimidates everybody.
I'm a firm believer in, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. because I've going through software or whatever firmware and stuff that, well, for example, Apple operating system. I'm still on, I don't know, whatever it was 3 years ago, and it works fine for me, and I know you upgraded to Yosemite and you've had all these headaches, so sometimes I'm kind of
I
like.
upgraded and had no problems at all. So.
Well, it's me she's talking to actually, because
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're not the only.
He's also Brian.
Picnic, right? Problem in chair, not in computer. I get it.
When same thing with Lightroom 5, like when we upgraded to Lightroom 5, there were a lot of issues with speed and that kind of stuff. So, like that's what I'm using now, and going to Lightroom 6, just reading some of the feedback. And there's some issues with it, blah blah blah. So, why would I want to upgrade to this?
So, I've heard of some people. There was one podcast in particular. I can't remember the name of it, and he said that he's had nothing but problems, and he's probably 30% of the people that he's spoken to said that they had nothing but problems. I've installed it on several machines, and I noticed a massive performance increase. First of all, they added a feature where, so your computer has sort of two brains. There's the GPU and the CPU. The CPU is the central processing unit. That's the Intel i5 or i7. That's the sort of main brain of the computer, but then there's also the GPU, the graphic processing unit, and it's usually a lot more powerful and can do things that are a lot more thinky than the CPU, because the CPU is busy running all this other stuff. The GPU can be dedicated towards specific tasks, and this is the first version of Lightroom that actually takes advantage of. It will take its power from the GPU instead of the CPU, and in some cases people are noticing like literally 1,000 time performance increase. I was always. How
would your computer have to be to really see that benefit?
You have to have the newest version of your video card drivers, but any Mac within the last 3 years will be able to take advantage of it. My video card's 2 years old. It was a high-end video card, but it's 2 years old and it's taken advantage of it. My MacBook Air is 2 years old, I think, and it automatically activated. So you can go in. I can show later on where to go into on your Lightroom and see if you're being able to take advantage of that.
Okay.
So there's that. So the performance increases were substantial, like really, really noticeable. Like the speed of rendering images, flipping from image to image, the speed of the image rendering while you're dragging the sliders back and forth is very, very noticeable. So that's been really nice just in itself. Plus, they've added some new functionality, and I'll just kind of go through the list really quick right now, but we'll go into a little bit further in depth, but except I'm going to get interrupted.
Well, Henry in the Q&A asks about ID10T errors. Do you know about that?
Yes, I know about ID10T errors. They're quite common.
Do we want to talk about that in a bit?
No.
Okay.
Just, do you have a pen and paper?
I do.
Okay, write down ID10T.
Okay, great, thanks.
All right. Yeah. So you get it, right?
Yeah, thanks, Henry. When you spell it out like that, you can kind of see what an idiot it makes you look like.
Yeah, a little bit of an idiot.
Welcome to my world. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so the quick feature list. You can now make HDR images from directly within Lightroom. I hate going out of Lightroom. I don't use any plugins. I own the
Nick.
Yeah, the Google Nick plugins. I think I've exported 2 images to them. I don't like leaving Lightroom because when you come back, usually you've lost your raw file, and you have a checkpoint where you now can't go back from. Right? And so any HDRs or panoramas, I hated leaving Lightroom to create them, and I don't do the real, haloing, really dramatic HDRs anyway. So I'll go into that in a little bit, but you can make HDRs and panoramas directly from in Lightroom. It's really, really easy to do, and it does a very good job. Faster performance, I've already mentioned. Easily find photos of specific people. So this is something that's a little bit more consumer-facing. And I actually ran into this today. And this is something that a lot of Mac people, if you're not using Lightroom yet, this may make you want to start looking at Lightroom. I don't know what's going on with Apple right now, but I had a customer call me up today, literally in tears. Her father passed away yesterday. She knew that she had 1,000 pictures of him, all facial tagged, in her iPhoto. And she couldn't find iPhoto. Guess what? Apple destroyed iPhoto and replaced it with photos, yeah. Right? And it's this like lethargic, pathetic excuse for a replacement of iPhoto. So they discontinued Aperture. They took out iPhoto. There was no warning for any of my customers. There was no, hey, Photos has been replaced. They just got this new icon there, and they had no idea what it freaking did. She couldn't find any pictures. Luckily, years ago, I had installed Picasa on her computer, and she went and did some facial recognition stuff there. So I just remote accessed into her computer, fired up Picasa. She found 100 pictures of him, printed off the 3 that she liked the most, and saved the day. But, like, dudes, you know, I mean, that was a rough time for her, and to have to go through that and try and figure out where all of her pictures are, that was bad. So,
yeah.
Lightroom has now added the functionality, and Lightroom is a software which I can't see going anywhere anytime soon. So, you know, invest the time to take advantage of this. The People Finder, it's good. You know, sometimes it takes a picture of a turtle and says, "Is this you?" But it's, you know, Gen 1, and it's learning. The more people you tag, the better it gets. Advanced video slideshows. So slideshows has been something that's been included in Lightroom for quite a while, but now you can do 2 things that save me a lot of time. You could always use slideshows, but you couldn't do the Ken Burns effect where it's like pan and zoom, and now you can add that into it, so I don't have to make them manually in Premiere. And then a second functionality, which is fantastic, where it will actually match the slideshow, the changing of the pictures, to the beat of the music. And slideshows are always they're much more impactful when the picture is changing at the same time as the beat of the music. And I tried about 7 or 8 different examples. It was pretty good on, you know, 5 or 6 of them. And I'm just, you know, right now I'm kind of honing down exactly what kind of music is best for that. Improved web galleries, that's something that I'll go into. You can literally share a collection of your photos with 1 click. It's fantastic. It's the most incredible thing. For me, being a person that does a lot of photography, likes to share my images, and for customer collaboration.
Okay, so this is something I wanted to talk to you about because you asked me into a hangout a few days ago to try this.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. So essentially, you just have a folder of photos on your computer.
Well, I'll go into it in like.
Oh, so you're just doing an overview.
Example. Yeah, I'm just doing quick overview.
Go ahead.
Support for more devices. So Lightroom Mobile works on Android tablets and more Android phones now. It's always worked on iPhone and iPad. I'm going to go through again a really quick tutorial on what that looks like. Those are the main. You know, there's some kind of behind the scenes improvements, but those are the ones that, you know, give me a photogasm. For Lightroom, and it's just been, the main thing is the Lightroom Mobile. You know, like I'm literally standing in line at Tim Hortons, editing my photos from that weekend, doing my flags and my pics, and actually doing real edits, and knowing that when I get back home, all the edits that I'm making on my phone are already synchronized with my Lightroom library. I mean, it's fantastic. It's really cool. So, without further ado, I could start going into some demonstrations if you would like.
Let's do it. That'd be great. Oh, and by the way, Mark Flinders says about the idiot thing. He says we call them PEBKAK errors. PEBKAK.
Yeah. PEBKAK. I know that one.
Never heard that.
Yeah. Problem in chair, not in keyboard.
No, PEB. PEBKAK.
Brian, not in keyboard.
Problem. Probably. That sounds more like it.
And there was actually, yeah, just looking at my notes here, there was also a big change to the gradient brush that a lot of people, I think, will really like. So...
probably exists between keyboard and chair.
There you go.
There you go. Has nothing to do with me, Gabe. Thanks.
Well, you can see my confusion.
I totally can. I get it.
All right, am I sharing? Yes, I'm sharing. Okay, so
Yes.
first feature, how to make panoramics right in Lightroom. So I went down this morning down to the lake that's about a block from my house, and they always say overlap by a third. I overlap by like a tenth. And so what would be kind of a 5-shot panoramic for most people is usually about a 15 or 20 shot for me. And you can see my little, if you don't know this tip, put your hand up at the very beginning and the very end of a panoramic shot so that when you've got it in Lightroom, you can see here, I can see the beginning and the end of my panoramic shot. So it's super easy. You just select the first one, select the last one, right-click anywhere, photo merge, panorama.
No, we don't see that.
Nope.
Oh, you know what I have to do? I have to share my screen, not just my doobly-doo.
Please don't doobly-doo.
Not share my doobly-doo. That's what the restraining order said. Okay. Now you can see that?
Yes.
All right. So I selected the first one, and then I selected the last one. To select multiple images in Lightroom, if you don't know, click on the first one, press and hold Shift, and then click on the last one, and it'll select all the ones in between. Right-click on any image, or alternatively, you can go into Photo, but I right-click because I'm lazy. Go to Photo Merge, and then you'll see 2 options there, HDR. This would be a very interesting looking HDR, or panorama. So I'm going to click on panorama, and it says creating panorama view or preview. Now, because this is one thing, well, I took these pictures to prepare for this show. I forgot that because there's so many, it's going to take a little while to render. So I'm going to see how long this actually takes. It's about halfway down.
You had the Don Komarechka special computer that would lightning bolt through this.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, if this was your Mac, we would be here for days.
My new Mac?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Garbage. Your Mac is sweet, man. Actually, really nice. So, okay. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see here on the right, there's a few options, panorama options. So you can have it rendered as spherical, cylindrical, or perspective. Oh, there you go. Look at that. It's all done.
That was quick.
I usually just go auto select projection, and it sort of auto selects what for the type of images that it's seeing, what the best type of panoramic image is. You can manually select them. Now, the one thing, there's not a lot of feet. Oh, wow. It didn't do that last time. Okay.
I also want to point out that Gabriel did portrait orientation for his landscape. Sorry, his panoramic.
Panorama, yeah.
Or, supposed to one super long skinny shot.
Yeah, because you'll notice here when I turn off the auto crop, there's a lot of white space on the top and the bottom. And if I shot horizontal, I would only get about this much of the image, and then the white space would cut into the active area. The whole area I want is only sort of this area here. So, like Navi pointed out, by shooting vertical or portrait, I get a lot more of the active area in the shot. Let me try this one again because I did it. Ah, there we go. That's when I showed that I did this with my son. He's like, "Oh, you should use that one." And you can turn on auto crop. Oh, that's why, because auto crop was turned on. So I'm gonna go spherical. I'm gonna turn on auto crop. And so, okay, so this is one huge thing about this. When you're done, okay, so I'm gonna click cancel because I've actually already rendered this file. So just pretend I'm clicking merge, and I go through the long, arduous process of it merging them all together. But this is one that I've already merged, and it's a DNG file. So a lot of programs, when you do a panorama and you send it out to that program, and then you process them and then bring them back in, they're a JPEG. So you don't have a lot of leeway as to what
Or a
you can do with
TIFF.
that. Or a TIFF.
At best case scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is a DNG. I mean, this is still just as much raw data as your original files. Now, I did have some extra notes on here about this. Let me just pull those up. Don't edit your individual images before you turn them into a panorama. There's a lot of editing that when you go to put it as a panorama, it will just ignore it. So if you go in, let's say you forgot to put your camera on manual mode, and a couple of your pictures are a lot brighter than your other ones, and you go in and manually adjust them, and then you merge them as a panorama, Lightroom is just going to throw all that information out and do all of its own balancing anyway. So just take all the pictures, throw them in there, and then edit everything after. And this is, whoops, I'm on the wrong screen. So this is that image with just some really quick editing done afterwards. And if you really zoom in, give it a second to render here. And I don't know how well it's going to show up on the Google Plus Hangout, but there's no artifacting here. Like every single image is lined up perfectly. It's fantastic.
Sorry, I just see in. I don't know if you can see it, Brian, but it's kind of like a reddish part of the image. Just bring your arrow down a little bit.
Right about in the middle there, yeah.
Do you see that, Brian?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's something that's because of the Google thing, or that's actually what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing any red there.
Up close, it doesn't really show.
Yeah. It could just be, because it's zoomed out. So much, and there was a lot of spotty clouding that day. So different areas were lit differently than others. Like you can see, it's a little bit brighter here and a little bit darker down there, just because of the opening clouds and stuff. But yeah, it looks fine on my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's HDR. It's fantastic. Another thing too is
panoramic.
Oh, sorry, panoramic. Yeah.
Is that right? No, actually, technically, HDR and panoramic are very similar. Pano will stitch images side by side. HDR will layer them one on top of the other. So, very close.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so the HDR, now that I've gone over this, will be a lot quicker. Shoot, where'd the notes go? So another thing. Oh yeah. Lightroom has profiles for all your lenses, just about all your lenses, for the most part, if you're using, a well-known lens.
And you're shooting in RAW.
And you're shooting in RAW, yeah. So don't apply any lens distortion fixing to your images when you go to merge them in the panorama. Lightroom automatically does that for you as well. So I mean, it's like 3 or 4 steps, or 4 or 5 steps actually, that Lightroom is saving you. All you have to do is just import your photos, and you don't have to worry about touching them up. You don't have to worry about doing the lens correction. You don't have to worry about any of that. Just select the first and the last, right-click, merge, photo merge, panorama, and away you go. You're off to the races.
Well, also, that makes sense, though, because if it's coming back as a raw image, you can do all your white balance. You can do everything after the fact.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Very
exactly.
cool.
I can go in here now, here, and go to the develop module, and I'd still have a huge amount of leeway.
Mm-hmm.
With these images, with the brightness and the exposure and everything.
And I guess all the lens correction options would still be visible because it's a RAW. Not like it needs it because it's already done it, but
right. Yeah, but you can add some transform effects or something like that, whatever you want to do. But it is all still available. So the HDR is very, very similar. Let's wait for this to load here. Okay, so this is an old HDR that I did, because the HDR I did today didn't really work out. The horrible one of my son in front of the computer, but there's not a lot of missing information from this photo, right? So I did, here's the dark, here's the overexposed, here's the dark, and here's the normal, but there's not a lot of missing information that you can really glean from that. So I found an old HDR that I did of a nice sunset and merged them all together, and came up with this image, and then did some quick editing and came up with that image. So again, for the HDR, and I know I'm going through this stuff quickly, but there's a lot to cover. So, maybe we'll do a how-to hangout or something like that later on for people that want to get a real deep dive and have specific questions. But this is just sort of a quick dusting of all the new stuff that's available. Click on the first one, hold shift down, and then click on the last one, right-click, photo merge, HDR. There's not a lot of options in this. Like, there's no sliders that you can slam back and forth to create really cool effects.
Well, yeah, this isn't tone mapping, though. This is just merging the photos. This is what HDR is.
Yes, this is HDR in the truest sense of the word, high dynamic range. That's all it is. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's not tone mapping.
And I think that's why people are liking it so much, because they're not getting back that really funky, gritty, dirty, grungy look. Right,
yeah, you're just getting back a picture with lots of data in it, which is fantastic. It gives you some options for deghosting. Auto align and auto tone are always put on by default, and you click on merge, and it turns it into a good-looking picture that you can then do fun stuff with. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I should be spending more time on these modules, but they're just so freaking easy to use.
Right.
Import, select, right-click, photo merge, HDR.
Done.
Yeah.
I guess that's sort of the idea, I guess, right? For them to make it simple as well. Because there are other tools and programs if you really want to get into and, do a million different options, but this is sort of a nice, quick way of getting it done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. If I'm doing like real estate photography or something like that, then this is or even just I'm doing HDR at a birthday party or something like that. This is all I need. And in all honesty, for 99% of the HDRs that I ever do, this is just what I need.
Well, the bottom line is too, once you've merged that as an HDR, you could go back in through Lightroom and do all your funky edits right in Lightroom. I mean, you've got clarity, you've got black and white effects, you've got all kinds of other tools within Lightroom that you can get that effect with. And also, if you wanted to, you still could go to the Nik HDR Effects Pro or the Photomatics for that tone map look.
Exactly. Yeah. It gives you added functionality without really taking away any features or any options.
See, that's handy because I've done a lot of HDR and panoramics, and I've always had to start off in Lightroom, export that into Photoshop while it does the merge. You save that merge, and that saves as a TIFF back into Lightroom. And then you have a TIFF. Mm-hmm. You can't do the same amount of edits. You can't do the same kind of controls. It's a huge file. This is so excellent that they're doing that right all in Photoshop. Or in Lightroom, I should say.
Yeah. No, it's great. I've been really enjoying it. Gradient brush. Let's go over this really quickly. So, in the past, we've all been there. We have a beautiful picture, and everything's great. But let's say we want the ground to be a little bit brighter. The sky is really nice. That looks great, but we want a little bit more detail on the ground. So I'm going to open up my develop module, and I'm going to go to the gradient brush here, and I'm going to go to exposure. No, not tint. Exposure. And I drag that up a bit, and I'm going to drag a gradient brush like this, but there's always been sort of a bit of a compromise you had to make. You either go like this to bring in the trees, but then you get some of the sky there, or you bring it down like this and you don't have any of the trees, so the trees are still really, really dark, or you have like down over here, this area here in the corner, you have a little brightness that you don't really want because the gradient filter is just a straight line. Well, now you can click on here on the brush panel and then go over here to erase and actually erase the filter. There. And if you go down here and click on show selected mask overlay, you can see where the filter is and where it isn't, clear it out from where you don't want it, and then click on A and paint it in where you do want it.
That is handy.
It is very, very handy. Yeah, and I'm going back over a bunch of my old pictures, where I either had to export them and do them in Photoshop or just live with the results and touching them up. So you can basically paint a gradient brush on or erase it from anywhere that you want.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
And then again, because it's Lightroom, you can go in and you can make all the changes that you want. I'm going to take off Show Selected Mask Overlay. You know, make any changes that you want, whether it be for better or for worse. Maybe you just want a total silhouette there, right? You don't want anything else at all, right? So you just turn it into a complete silhouette, and you can go in later and really do some fine-tune adjustments.
Excellent.
So that's that. What am I going to do next? I'm going to do the Faces panel. So this is the one that I was talking about that's a little bit more average consumer-oriented. And I'm going to be using this a lot. This is an engagement shoot that I did. I don't usually tag engagement shoots, but for the sake of learning, I will. So down here, you've got your grid view, you've got your loop view, you've got your compare view, your survey view, and now you have your little smiley face.
Smiley face?
Yeah.
Oh, faces, okay.
So you've got a little people view there. So
there's Martin over there on the right.
So I imported these photos into this collection called Face, and I tagged one picture of Brian. And from that one picture that I tagged of Brian, it went through all the other pictures, and it says, "Oh, is this one Brian?" And I will say, "Yes, it is." Now it also went through and because in other collections and stuff, I have Trish tagged in certain photos. And it says, well, this picture from the people that we know, this picture looks like Trish, is it? And you can just click on the little thing there. And I'm going to, for the sake of privacy, I'm going to call her Jane. Oops. And then I'm going to, you can see the little 13 up here. So if you click on that, oh, which I did not do. I did it wrong. Okay. I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm going to go Jane here. I guess I don't have to worry about it being a capital. I'm going to click on the 3, and there we go. I have to do it before I enter the name. That's why. And it shows you, okay, here's a group of pictures that we think are all the same person, right? And you'll see it all automatically start auto-filling her name. Click OK, and it just adds. I'm going to go up to here. So it adds her to the named people section. And now it knows that all these pictures are pictures of her. And then it'll go through and it'll start, it takes a little while for it to do it, but it'll start auto-suggesting people as you go along.
I might suggest, actually, you change my name for privacy reasons as well. I think you should call me George.
George?
Yes. Okay.
We're not going to do that.
Burst my bubble.
Yeah, I know. That's what I do. So yeah, as you can see, like I said, again, this is a really quick overview of it, right? We're going to call this guy on. Go like that. So now that you have one image up here, that's John. If you go here and you expand that, you're like, you know what, all those pictures are of John. You can click on the first one, shift-click on the last one, and drag it up over John, and it just adds all those pictures right to the John folder, right? Here's one. These 3 are definitely of Jane. Drag it over, and you're pretty much, here's another one of John, and you're pretty much done. Now, where does this come in handy? Well, this comes in handy when you go into the keyword list, and you'll see in your keyword list there's a new keyword category called people. And so these are all the people that I have tagged in my Lightroom. So if I want to see all the pictures of, wow, where's one that I can click on where it's not going to be inappropriate? Well, there's John. Okay, so we know who John is. So you click on there and filter people, and it picks up, it will filter out all the pictures of John.
Gabriel, while there's a quick second here, Andrew says, is that because you're just curious? Because of the lag, I forget what that was supposed to be relating to.
George.
George? Oh, Curious George. Got it. Thanks, Navi. You're good at that. Curious George.
I didn't get that entire conversation.
In the Q&A, Andrew asked, "Is that because I'm just curious that I wanted to be called George?"
Ah, okay. All right.
Yes. And then I sang the Curious George song.
I didn't even know there was a Curious George song.
You're just young. That's okay. It's a good thing.
I didn't know that was a Curious George song either.
Are you kidding me?
Right?
I used to have the Curious George album.
What?
Book album. Yeah.
He went on tour.
Oh, he was huge.
You know.
George back in the day, you have no idea. You thought... Never mind, I'm not going to finish that. Go ahead.
So, with that section there, if you're looking for a picture of a specific person, you can go into your keyword list, click on people, and just do a search for everybody in there. So, yes, very cool. And I love it because I use my Lightroom for business and personal. And I love being able to, like one thing that I'll do is if it's a friend of mine's birthday, I've been taking pictures of our group of friends since 2002, if not longer. And so, somebody's birthday is coming up. I could just go into there, do a filter search for their name, pull up all the, 5,000 pictures that I've taken of them. And then I do, because you can see here, if a picture is flagged green and 5-star, that means that it has been selected, liked above the other images, and edited. So I take all those pictures, I filter for flagged green and 5-star, and then from there I pick out my favorite ones and throw them up on Facebook or Google Plus or wherever they'll get embarrassed the most. So now, while we're in here, while I've got you here, you'll notice there's a little button up here called Make Public. And this is one of my favorite features about Lightroom, this new version of Lightroom. So once you create a collection, and for people that don't use collections a lot, go on YouTube and just do a quick Google search for Lightroom collections. They're really an incredibly powerful way of organizing and finding your images insanely quickly. So I've got this collection here called Face right now, but you know what? Let's go to this one up here called Wedding Portfolio. So you can see there's this little double arrow here, and it says click to stop syncing this collection with Lightroom Mobile. Well, I don't want to do that. And as soon as you create a collection, it's going to automatically be synchronized with Lightroom Mobile. And what that means is that every photo in this collection is instantly available on my phone, on my iPad, on any mobile device that I have. The only limitations that I've run into so far is that it's not smart collections, which I really, really, really wish it was, and it's not collection sets. So I would like to share this collection set with Lightroom Mobile and automatically have all the collections below it synchronized as well. But I'm sure that's just, that's so obvious. I'm sure that's a feature that they knew they should include here, but they're like, well, we got to talk about some sort of enhancements that we did in version 2 or whatever. So I think they're just saving it for that. So not only does it show up immediately on the mobile device, but you've got this little button up here. Now this one here says Make Private, so I'm going to go back down to Face. I'm going to say Make Public. And literally you'll see a little spinny thing up there that says Generating URL. And now it's done. It's literally that quick. So now if I click on this link, and it opened up in the other window, so I'll move it over here. You should be able to see it. Yes, you can. You now have a web-based gallery with all of your images in it that you can just copy and send a link to clients, to friends. It's private. Well, public as long as you have the link. So if you share it on Facebook, everybody that sees it on Facebook can click on the link. Can click on the link and go and see it. But it's not publicly discoverable, so you don't have to worry about it showing up in YouTube or anything like that. And literally all I did is I clicked one button from within Lightroom, and it creates the whole thing for you.
Can you click on individual photos and make it bigger?
Yep. So I can click on the image. Makes it bigger. I can scroll from image to image. I can see the image information. I can see any activity on this image. Now, you don't need an Adobe account to view the images, to scroll through them, to view them on a mobile device or anything like that. But if the people that are viewing your images want to like it, you'll see that there's a little heart down here, or if they want to add a comment to it, they do need to either have or create an Adobe account. Now, an Adobe account literally takes 2 minutes to set up. There's no credit card. There's no personal information except for like your birthday, but you can just lie. I'm born January 1st, 1974, as far as anybody's concerned, or any online website's concerned. So they can just create it really quickly. And then, and this is one of the incredible parts, so let's say this was well, it's an engagement shoot, right? And let's say these people wanted to create an album, right? So they can go in and they can just click on the heart on all their favorite images, and that information automatically synchronizes with my Lightroom.
Ooh.
So I can go in back to Lightroom here and filter for all the images with hearts on them, and then bring those over to the book module and make the album.
That is very handy.
Or, let's say, hypothetically, they love this picture but they want to see it in black and white, right? They can add a comment to that image just by clicking on the comment here, or writing a comment down here, and those comments, again, automatically synchronize with my Lightroom. And there's a special little, I want to find, which one? Oh, it was the Daytripper photo. It was the falconry one that you and I were working on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I see it here? So another thing that we can do with, there we go. That's the nice thing about collections, is that you can just start typing the name of the collection up here, and it'll just filter right through and bring up the collection.
Cool.
And a couple of these here, you'll notice there's a special tag. Oh, you know what? It's because I've gone through all the comments already. But when somebody has left a comment on a photo that has not been read yet, there's a little icon that shows up on that photo. And I can see down here, Brian Weiss has liked this photo. And then I can't find, here we go. He added a comment to this photo, says I'd like to use this one, and I can write right back to the client from within Lightroom, you can use it, and it'll show up in the online gallery. So it's incredibly powerful. I don't know if I'm explaining this as, to be as incredible as it is, but I mean, it is that I can go in and create a gallery, create a collection, and just click one button and have it up within seconds for the client to see. Or even just friends. You shoot a birthday party, you go home, you put it in Lightroom, you do all your editing, you click the button, boom. You don't have to upload it to Facebook, you don't have to upload it to Google+, you don't have to wait to export all the images from Lightroom and then upload them to something else. It's just done. You can right-click on here.
Sorry, what does it export as? When you put it into the gallery, like, does it do any sort of exporting, or?
I think it's smart previews.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't actually been able to find out any information on that as to, what it sort of is. Well, okay, here, actually, if I click on here, let me just minimize this, and go save as. So it's like it's an HTML thing. Oh. So it's not, that's one limitation right now, is they can't just go and download all the images. They can look at them, right, but they can't download them. But at least for proofing or for album selections or even just for quick sharing, this is one of the best solutions that I've seen.
It's kind of nice. You don't have to go to another, third-party website or whatever. So.
Like you use PixieSet, right, Gabriel? So that's something you won't need anymore.
Well, I won't need it for the initial selections, right? Once a job is completely done and I want to digital deliver it to them and I want them to be able to download all the images, right? Then I'll send everything out to PixieSet.
I see.
But my sneak peeks, or let's say you're delivering images to a client and you don't want them to be able to download the images. This is a great way to do it because they can't right-click and go save image as, right? hey, you can see your images, but you're not going to actually get them until you give me my money.
Can you actually save that and then open it and see what it opens as?
Yeah, so if I go there and go save image as, hold it. Last time I did that, it was an HTML file.
We'll click on, actually, yeah, so it's probably a very small.
It's a JPEG. So yeah, it's a tiny little thumbnail.
Okay, so now save it, the larger version, and see what it gives you.
Let's see here.
While you're doing that, Andrew asks, are the images that are stored or that are shared through this method stored in a cloud somewhere? In other words, your computer doesn't have to be online for it to work.
Right. That's exactly right. So when I click on the larger image and I go right-click, Save As, it's just an HTML file.
What does it say? Oh, I see.
It's based on HTML because it's in the gallery of face.
Oh, so would it just take you back to the entire gallery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would do.
And Don, thank you for watching. He appreciates the demo that you've done, Gabe. He says it's a great show. Thanks for the demo. He has been watching, but he's got to go. So thanks for watching, Don.
You say things that make me sad.
Sorry, to answer Andrew's question there, it was Andrew, right?
Yes.
You don't have to be on the cloud, or you do?
You do have to. I think what he's asking is that website pulling the images from your computer? So does your computer have to be on for a client to access them? No, your computer doesn't need to be on. You click the Make Public, and then you can shut down your computer and drive away, and all those pictures are still accessible because I think it's just uploading the smart previews, right? It's not actually uploading a copy of the images. It's just like a limited version of that photo. Yeah, so you can download the thumbnails, right? Yeah, I can right-click on here, go Save Image As, right? Save that, but it's such a tiny little image that it's nothing. You wouldn't even put that on Facebook,
right?
So.
Now, does this take up the cloud storage? Because I know when I first tried Lightroom Mobile, I added one collection to it, and I was way over my cloud storage limit.
Yeah, it does, but I think they've upped the limit to like 10 gigs.
Oh, okay.
So you've got a fair amount of storage. You can also filter from here, so they can reverse the order of the images, and then they can also click here, and it starts a slideshow. A slideshow of the images, and it just kind of goes through the image. It has a little bit of cross-fading, and it's all nice and stuff.
Very cool.
Now, the other aspect, how are we doing on time here?
We're just about done.
Okay, so I'll go through this quickly. Let me just check my notes here. Lightroom Mobile with editing, one-touch web galleries, face panel. I think I've covered just about everything they wanted to cover, so let's go through this quickly. Now, what I said is when you share one of these galleries, one of these collections in Lightroom Mobile, not only does it create that, here we go. Not only does it create that web gallery, but it also synchronizes it automatically with your devices. So I'm going to open my iPad here. And it's the same on my phone, but I'm just going to show my iPad because it's a bigger interface. I'm going to launch Lightroom Mobile. Sorry for the glare. When I tested this during the day, it wasn't as sunny. It was sunny, so I wasn't getting glare from the light. So these are all the albums that I have synchronized, and they just automatically show up in there. Let me find one that's right now is sort of going through and updating everything. So I'm going to click on this Algonquin 2013 spring one. And the nice thing, so you can do several things through this. You can do your picks. So let's say you shoot a wedding or a birthday party or something like that, and you don't have time to sit in front of your computer for 2 hours going through flagging your pics of the pictures, but you do have a commute or a bus ride, or you're going to the doctor's office, you're going to have 25 minutes sitting in there waiting for the doctor. You can take your iPad or your phone with you, and just by doing quick little slides here, you can set your pick or unflagged or rejected, just like that. And then I always have 2 levels. I have my flags and then my stars, right? So once I've flagged everything, I go through and star everything, and so you can click over, oops, here, and why is it not? Oh, just by dragging across here, you can see the stars lighting up. You can flag, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars right from there. So it's great for going through your images quickly and picking out the ones that you want. But then you also have some really cool editing functionality. So you can do your cropping. They have presets, kind of like Instagram presets where you can add effects and stuff. And you can go in your adjustments here. You can adjust your exposure, your temperature. Most of the things that you get within Lightroom, you can do right here on your tablet. So I'm just going to show really quickly. I'm not going to go through all of them because that's a lot of time. But it's got a nice interface. It's really easy to use. And just like in normal Lightroom, if you double tap on a slider, it sets it back to 0. Right? And any changes that I make on these are automatically synchronized with my Lightroom at home.
That's very cool. As Andrew says, it's a very cool feature. All of these are cool features. He's talking about the sharing feature, and that's a really great way to go. Tammy says, what an awesome show. We've learned so much. You guess needs to power up your Lightroom and start using it. I would agree with that, Tammy.
Good.
Lightroom, and we haven't even talked about what Lightroom really does, like the keywording and the file management and organization and all that. I mean, that's 4 more shows right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dennis, thank you for watching tonight. He goes, it's a great show. He actually tried out the HDR feature while watching, Gabriel.
Good.
Or listening, rather. And he says it rendered very quickly on his 2010 MacBook Pro with only 8 gig of memory. So no performance issues there, he says.
Awesome.
Very
There's
cool.
one more feature that I'm going to show you before I wrap this up. Just because it's really, really good if you're using your iPad or your mobile device as a portfolio machine, or you just want to, let's say you want to hand your pictures over to somebody and let them scroll through them, but not have to worry about them flagging them or changing the stars or going into editing by accident. Click on the share button, and then up in the corner here, and then click on present. And it's a little bit different in Android, but it's the same idea. And when you click on present, it starts a slideshow. It can auto start a slideshow, or you can do it manually. And they can't go into any other areas. They're stuck in the gallery, right? So they can't accidentally unflag some of your photos or accidentally go into the editing thing. And you can have it autoplay the slideshow, or you can have it do it. I love that picture.
Yeah, that's a great one.
You can have it do it manually, where they, and I'll use this for weddings a fair amount. I'll use my iPad to hold my portfolio for weddings, and you can just hand it to the customer, and they can scroll through the pictures. You don't have to worry about them, bunging up any of your settings. So, exit presentation mode. Yes, I would like to. 5-finger pinch, back to your desktop, and you're all done.
Very cool. Dennis asks, is Lightroom Mobile included in the CC subscription?
Yes. It is built right into Lightroom. All you have to do is have a compatible device. So pretty much any modern Android phone, they just add Android tablet support, and any iDevice, iPad, iPhone. I could not imagine. Like I use the Nexus 6. It's really not that much smaller than an iPad. So I mean, or like it's not much smaller than an iPad Mini. So I'll be sitting in the line waiting for coffee, editing my photos. I couldn't imagine doing that on an iPhone.
It's funny you say that. I have my old iPhone 4, which I've been using forever, and just for the first time, I was updating my new phone, and I had to use this phone, and everything felt so small. I mean, we're not talking a huge difference here in size, but what a dramatic difference in usability and real estate area,
And the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's massive.
Do you have to have Lightroom CC to really, utilize Lightroom Mobile for the syncing?
That is a fantastic question, and I've read mixed results. some people are saying that you have to have the monthly subscription to be able to take advantage of the CC, like the shared albums and the synchronizing and stuff like that. And I've heard in 2 different interviews, because of course I listen to a whole bunch of photography podcasts, and they're all talking about the new version of Lightroom. And some of them have even gotten representatives from Adobe on there. And one will say, yes, you have to have the CC, and one will say, no, you don't. I would personally go in and test that myself, except I don't have a copy of Lightroom 6. I only have CC, and I'm not about to go out and spend $145 to test it for you people, because I love you, but I don't love your money worth.
Oh, you people.
So, yeah, I mean, if anybody can answer that definitively, I have Lightroom 6 and it doesn't work, I'd love to know the answer to that, but I think you have to have the CC. Just another reason why the CC is so worth it.
That's right. Mark Flinders is downloading it right now. Lightroom Mobile for his iPad.
Awesome.
Very good.
It does, as much as I love Android, because it's version 1 on the Android, it's more optimized for the iDevices, and it works better on the iPad. It works well on the Nexus 6 and stuff. It works very well on that. I don't have any complaints, but it does work better on the iPad.
I can't imagine trying to use my giant finger on this tiny screen for the sliders or whatever.
Well, and the way that they lay it out, because it's a full screen-wide slider, right? So the way they lay it out, it's actually very easy to do the editing. I'm going to see if I can just pull one up quick here, but I don't want to, have people get frustrated. No collections yet. Well, that's fantastic. Oh yeah, that's one problem with the Adobe, the Android version, is I keep getting logged out. And it seems that all my passwords are 87 digits long and change automatically every month. It'll take me a little bit to log back in. So.
I don't know how you do that. I've just been having a heck of a time trying to get my computer up and running right now with passwords. So I'll be doing this all night.
LastPass, baby.
I'm going to have to show you a skit later, Gabriel, on about passwords. It's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
I think you'll appreciate it.
No, I use a program called LastPass, and it autofills all my passwords for me. Lightroom Mobile is one of the only apps that it doesn't autofill the password. And on my banking websites and stuff, all my passwords are between 86 and 102 digits, and it automatically changes the passwords for me every month.
What if you need to access a page from a different computer that's not yours?
Then I can just launch the app on my phone.
Oh, it's an app.
Yeah.
What if you don't have your phone on you? What if your phone is out of batteries?
What if you're in Mars?
No, this is a legitimate question.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning into the show tonight. It's been fantastic. I hope you've gotten as much out of it as I got learning. I learned some new stuff researching for this show, and I hope that came through. I hope you enjoyed my ramblings.
That was awesome. Awesome.
You like my little diversion there?
Yeah, it's totally great. I'm like a 2-year-old baby. I'm already over it. All right, so guys, it was really cool. Thank you, Gabriel, for going through all that stuff, and thank you to all the people who tuned in and asked questions through the Q&A and everything like that. And Navi, of course, thank you so much for your insight and asking the questions that you asked. There's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have even thought to ask that you did, so thank you so much. Before we say goodnight, I want to remind people that the current photo challenge is zip. Anything you want to make out of it, zip. Which is funny because I went to work the next day and I saw a Dr. Zip pop can, which was interesting. It could be zipper, it could be zip down the street, it could be zippity doo dah. Whatever you want to make it zip, because you get a great prize this week. I don't know if you remember, but not only will you get the fantastic lens pen and tablet cleaner thing, which is really cool. You also get a $150 gift certificate to any day trip in 2015 with a really cool picture of an owl on it. Cha-ching!
Nice.
So it's an amazing challenge to partake in, and it is on Zip. So get up there and make your photos for Zip, and thank you so much for watching our show. Just going to mention some upcoming sessions that we have coming up. First of all, Waterfalls North session still has some seats on the mobile classroom. This was the session that was postponed from April 26th until May 31st. I think that was a great choice that we made, eh, Navi? We went up there for our pre-trip. Water was too high, far too much ice. It was not safe, so we bumped it to May 31st. It'll still be nice and spring-like and not too hot, hopefully, and it'll be beautiful. A week later, the Birds of Prey session, the next Birds of Prey session is happening. That's June 7th. There's lots of space open for that, guys, so if you want to come to the Birds of Prey, it's only $200 for 4 hours shooting up to 13 different birds. It's going to be a blast. And the big barbecue and fireworks show is coming up on June 30th. Now, not to brag or anything like that, but we got some cool toys today. There's a couple. We got all kinds of really great fireworks we're going to be trying out from the place where we get all of our fireworks for this session coming up. Some bigger ones, the grape soda. We got all kinds of really cool fireworks. So I'm actually going to be using these fireworks this weekend when I'm on vacation. And I should also remind people about our shows that we're going to be missing coming up because of that. But when we have these photos of these fireworks, we're going to post them so everybody will see what kind of fireworks we're going to be launching. It's awesome stuff. This fireworks display is going to be amazing with a full barbecue ahead of time. That is June 30th, a day before Canada Day. So register for those all right now at daytripperphoto.com as you see it right here, daytripperphoto.com. And keep your eyes open for the Did You Know videos that are going to be coming out very soon. Where can we all be found? Gabriel, you're such a wealth of information. We talked about PC tantrums earlier today. How can folks get a hold of you to help them with all this stuff?
Well, you can reach me at bousquetphotography.ca as I'm getting further and further away. There we go. I can fix computers, but I can't figure out reverse camera orientation. bousquetphotography.ca. And yeah, whether you need computer help or photography help, you know, people say, well, what's your full-time job? Yes, they are both my full-time job because, yeah, they just keep me full, you know, busy pretty much 24 hours a day, and I love it. So any help that you need, I'd love to help.
Awesome. And Navi, where can folks get a hold of you as well?
They could find me at navynyum.com.
Navynyum.com.
That's all I got today.
That was good. All right, cool. All right, so that's about it for us tonight. Anything else to add before we say goodnight, guys?
Yeah, you're not going to be here next week.
Oh, right.
And there'll be no show the week after that.
Thank you. I was going to mention that. So next week I will be still on vacation, just getting home, unpacking and all that during the time of the show. So I won't be able to be on the show. But
there will be a show.
There will be a show. Gabriel and Navi will be running the show, and it will be our photo review show for the Photo Challenge Zip, which is very cool. I might even be watching it in the car on the way back. So who knows? Maybe you'll see me jump in on my phone if that works out. But the week after is a little different. We are in the midst of some turmoil, I guess you could say. Well, it's not really turmoil. It's not even turmoil. You'll have some turmoil. Boy. Gabriel will be in Vegas, and he will be full of turmoil.
Technically, I'll be in paradise. Because the Las Vegas Strip is actually in a suburb of Las Vegas called Paradise for tax reasons. So I'll be in Paradise.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, Gabriel will be in Paradise, and I will be shooting the Vaughn Film Festival event, one of the big events for the Vaughn Film Festival, which I'm very excited about. And Navi, I'm sorry, I'm sure you can find something to do.
Hello, guys. Watching there. No? No Q&A?
They're all by ourselves.
Actually, if you want to do the show on your own, you know, it probably would be a lot better.
I don't know what to talk about for an hour. It would just be like, hey guys, look at my stamp collection.
We got this Netflix screen.
All right. Well, that's great. Thank everybody for watching tonight, and we will see you, or they will see you next week, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. And hope you all have a great week. Take care, everybody, and get your photos in for Zip. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.